Hello, welcome to my next video lecture, which will be on module 3, that is function. And in this video lecture, we will be discussing about the fundamental things related to the function. So, we will define what is function. We will write some small programs by making use of functions. We will see different fundamental terms which are related to function, right? So we will begin with what is function. So we can see a function is a group of commands written separately outside the main to perform some specific operation. So as you can see, it is a group of commands, but the thing is, up till now we are writing group of commands inside main. Now to write a function, we have to write that group of commands outside the main. And what is the boundary of the main? Pair of curly brackets. We can start the main by writing opening curly bracket, and we can end the main by writing closing curly bracket. Outside these boundaries, we can write a set of commands, and this set of command is written to perform some specific operation. This set of command is called as function. So I hope you have understood about the definition of a function. Now let us go through the types of functions. There are two major types of functions. One type is called as predefined functions, and second type is known as user defined functions. So what is the difference between these two types and which functions we are going to write now? We will start with predefined functions. We know that predefined functions are nothing but C library functions which we are using in our programs. So if you remember, up till now in our program we have used many predefined functions. I will just give you the list to revise many of them. So these are the predefined functions which we have used up till now in our C programs. So I have listed header file and the predefined functions present in that header file. Like we are using header file stdio.h, and it provides us predefined functions like printf, scanf, getS and putS. Similarly, conio.h, mat.h, ctype.h, string.h, stdlib.h, and from stdlib.h recently in dynamic memory allocation we used the predefined functions named as malloc, calloc, realloc and free. So this is a summary of some of the predefined functions that we used up till now. So predefined functions are predefined or already written set of commands which are performing some specific operation, and in my program I can call them as and when required. Like the sqrt function will be a set of commands which is responsible for calculating square root of the given number, or strcpy function will be also a set of commands which will be responsible for copying array or string from one character array to other character array. Similarly, every function is nothing but a set of commands written separately outside the main to perform some specific operation. But since I have not written, or we have not written these functions, they are already present in the library of C language. Therefore, they are known as predefined functions or C library functions. So I hope you recalled about these functions. Now we will move on to the actual type of function which we need to deal with. This is second type of functions. They are called as user defined functions, and as I already told you, these functions are defined to perform some specific task. So let us have a function which performs a specific task, but you know, to perform a specific task the function requires input. So it will perform the predefined task on that input. For example, I wanted to write a function which will perform addition of two integer numbers. So to perform addition of two integer numbers, this function requires two integer numbers as the input, and this input can be obtained from user through the standard input device, that is keyboard. So a function can directly get an input from user through keyboard and it performs operation on it. After performing the operation, it prepares a result, and this result is required to be sent as an output to the standard output device monitor, which will be observed by user. So after performing addition of two numbers, the sum will be ready, and the function needs to display that sum to the user on standard output device, that is monitor. So as you can see, like a C program, we can have a function which performs a specific task, which takes input from user and which provides output to the user, and this function is bounded by a boundary. So whatever variables we are using in this function, they are visible or usable only within this boundary. This is something called as variable space of a function. Variables declared in this function are visible only within that function. They will not be visible from other functions. But as you know, a C program can consist of many other functions also. So let us say the C program consists of other functions, and we know every function has got its own memory space or variable space. Variables which are present in or declared in one function will not be visible to this function, or variables which are declared in this function, they will not be visible to this function as well as to this function. So whatever changes we do to the variable in this function, it will not be reflected in this function. What if I want to send the values of some variables from one function to other function? That means this function, which is performing a specific task, instead of taking input from the user, wanted to take the input from other function. This is possible by using a technique called as parameter passing. We need to send these values as parameters. We will come back to this point sometime later. Now, after taking the input from one function, these inputs will be processed to prepare a result, and then if I say this function doesn't want to display the result to the user by performing output operation, but it wants to provide that result to some other function, then that is also possible in C language, and it is possible through a process called as returning. So function can perform input operation or can receive inputs by using two different options. Either the function can receive input directly from user through the keyboard, or a function can receive input from other function as parameters. Then for output also, the function has got two options. Either the function can display output on standard output device by using output commands, or the function can send the result to other function by using a process called as returning. So this is little introduction about a function. If you are not getting many of the terms that I discussed up till now, don't worry. In the programs, we will learn what does this actually means. But for a time being, you should remember that the function can have two options to receive value, and functions can have two options for displaying or sending result. So these two options are important, and I introduced them. We will come back in detail. Now, the next important question is why to write functions in the program. Can we perform the required operation or the specific operation without writing user defined functions? The answer is yes. But then why to write functions? Answer to this question is another question. That is, why main should do all the operations? What does this mean? Normally, when we write a C program, a simple C program consists of three operations. First is input operation, second is processing or calculation, and third is output. So a simple program will consist of these three operations, and most of the time main is doing all these three operations. So main has to do the work of performing input, performing calculation, and performing output. So why not to divide the work? Why main should do all this work? So we want to divide the work among the functions. So how we can divide the work among the functions? It completely depends upon the programmer's wish. A programmer has to decide that which operation will be performed by main and which operation will be performed by function. And there can be many possible ways by which this division of work can be done. So we will go through the first possibility. In this case, what we will do is we will relieve main from all the work. That means what? That means let the function should do all three operations, that is input, calculation, and output, and main will be doing nothing. So in this case, as you can see, main will be happier because it is relieved from all the tasks, whereas the function will be little sad because it has to perform many operations like input, processing, and output. And of course there will be a wall present between main and a function which divides their variable space. Means the variables which are declared in main will not be visible in function, or the variables which are declared in function will not be visible in main. They are divided by a wall. They have got separate memory variable space. Since this function that we are trying to write is performing all three operations, input it is getting from the user and not from the main, because main is not taking input, it is not performing any operation. So the function has to get the input directly from the user. The function has to process that input to prepare the result, and the function has to display the result. That means it has to perform output. That means it need not have to send the result back to the main. So all the operations are performed by function. In this case, the function is called as function with no parameter, no return. It doesn't accept any parameter from main. It doesn't return any result to the main. So this particular thing is called as type 1 function, that is function with no parameter and no return. And you have to understand it very clearly when we should write this type of function, when we decide that main should not do any operation but function should do all the operations. So in this situation, if we are doing division of task like this, then we have to write a function which will not require any parameter and which will not return the result. Let us see the example. We will try and write a small program to understand this concept. So I will take you to Turbo C and we will try to write a program. First of all, I will try and write a simple program which will perform addition of two numbers, integer numbers, without function. So you can see we require integer variables, let's say a, b, and we will take third variable sum. Then normally we write CLR SCR to clear the screen. Then we perform input operation by writing printf. We ask the user enter two integer numbers. We accept them by writing scanf %d 2 times. Then we write address of a, first value will be stored in a, then address of b, that means second value will be stored in variable b, and then we write simple arithmetic expression to perform addition like sum is equal to a plus b, and after addition is ready we write a printf to display the output. We will write addition is equal to %d and we will display the value of variable sum, and then to freeze the output we write get ch, and that is the end of main. So I have written a very small program to perform addition of two numbers. Does this program consist of any function? The answer is yes. Every C program should consist of the function whose name is main, and therefore we are writing a function whose name is void main. And if you see, all the commands in my program I have written inside the main. That means this program doesn't consist of any other user defined function. So this program consists of only one function whose name is main. And let's see what are the operations the main is performing. If you observe these two commands that I have written, these two commands are performing input operation. They are taking data input from the user through the keyboard. That means now main is performing input. Then if you see this command, then this is called as processing or calculation. So since this is a very simple program, calculation is very simple. It is just one arithmetic expression which will perform addition of two integers and store the result into sum. But we can say that calculation is also performed by main. Now if you see this particular command, you will understand this is the output operation by which main will display result to the user. So all three operations are right now performed by main. Now as per our strategy, what we wanted to do is, we want the input, calculation and output should not be performed by main. So if I say it should not be performed by main, then I should delete it from main. So it is not performed by main now, but I should perform it inside the function. And function, if you remember, as I told you, it is group of commands which is written outside the main. So all three operations which main was doing previously, I removed it from the main, and the commands you required for that operations I have written outside the main. But this is not enough. To become a function, these group of commands are required to be enclosed in a pair of curly brackets. So when I enclose them in a pair of curly brackets, this is something called as function body. So group of commands written or used to perform some specific operation enclosed within a pair of curly bracket is known as function body. But this is also not enough. To become a function, it must have header. That means we need to write one line on the top of the body which will be called as function header. And now I will write function header like this: void addition open close brackets. This line is called as function header. Now in this line, what is this word addition? This is identifier. This is the name of the user defined function which we are writing, and programmer is free to select any name. I can give name addition, I can give name add to int, or any other name as per your wish. So we can name the function by giving some identifier. This is name of a function decided by programmer. What is this void? This void is a keyword and it is used as a return type. Void is a return type. If a function is not returning any value, that means it is displaying the result on its own, then the return type of that function must be void. You have to use a keyword void. The void keyword indicates this function will not return anything, but it will take two numbers as an input, it will perform addition and it will display the result, but it will not return anything to main. So now this is called as function header, and this is remaining which is present in the pair of curly bracket is called as function body, and together, that means header along with function body, it is called as function definition. And you can see function definition is present outside the main and after the main. This is the end of main, and we have written a function definition after the main. Now, will it solve the problem? The answer is no. After performing these many steps, still our program will not work. Let us compile and check. You can see there are three errors: undefined symbol A, undefined symbol B, undefined symbol sum. Why they are undefined, we will come back to that point very soon. Now there is very important another term related to the function. When we ask the compiler to start execution of our program, by default compiler knows the program will consist of function main, so it will start execution from main. It will keep on executing all the commands which are present in the main, and after the curly bracket of main it stops the execution. That means compiler will not execute the commands which are present in the function. By default the compiler says program starts at main and program ends at main. So anything present after main or outside the main will not be executed. But we want the compiler should execute our function, that means the commands present written inside the function. So if we want this to happen, then we should use one more command inside the main, that is called as function call command. The command required to start the execution of user defined function is called as function call command. And how to call the function? It is simple, just by writing the name of that function. Let's say add to int. This is the name of the function which I have decided. So I will call it by putting empty brackets in front of it and semicolon. This is called as function call command. Unless this command is not present, the function present in your program will not be executed. We will see how this will happen. Now if I compile my program, you will find the number of errors are 5. What are the other problems? Like undefined symbol A, B and sum, there are two more errors included in my program. One is function add to int should have a prototype. Do you remember when this type of error comes? If you remember it, I will show you when this type of error will come. Let us try and remove this command, that is #include conio.h, and compile our program. You can see the number of errors are again increased. They are gone up to 7, and now it is saying function clr_scr should have a prototype, function add to int should have a prototype, function getch should have a prototype. So prototype is something very important for a function. If it is a predefined function, then prototype of that function can be given by just including the header file in which that function is present. Like clr_scr and getch functions are present in the header file conio.h. So if I include conio.h, we need not have to give a separate prototype for clr_scr and getch. So if I compile it now, you can see the prototype error for clr_scr and getch is gone. But then how to give a prototype for user defined function? Add to int is not a predefined function, but it is user defined function. So how we will provide the prototype for this function? It is simple. The prototype of the function is nothing but declaration of the function, which will consist of the return type of the function, name of the function and parameters if they are there. Now where to give the prototype of the function? One way is you can give the prototype of the function before void main, or second option, you can give the prototype of the function inside main in the declaration section. So this is option number 2. I can give prototype here or I can give prototype here. So let's give the prototype before void main. And to give the prototype, I have to write return type of my function, that is void. I have to write name of my function, that is add to int, and since it doesn't take any parameters because we are writing function with no parameter, so brackets are empty, and put a semicolon. This is something called as prototype of UDF, that is user defined function. So now we have given prototype for our user defined function. We are having function call, we are having function header, we are having function body. So all the required terms related to function are given. Let's check what the compiler says if I compile my program. Still the compiler says there are 3 errors. What are the 3 errors? It is saying undefined symbol A, it is saying undefined symbol B, it is saying undefined symbol sum. But in our program, have we defined these 3 variables? In a program, if I see, program means if I start the program, it starts from here, it ends at here. So throughout this program, do you see the declaration of these 3 variables somewhere? The answer is yes. The variables are declared in this main. They are declared over here. And where we are trying to use them? We are trying to use them inside the user defined function add to int. And that's what I said initially when I introduced the function. Every function has got its own variable space. Variables declared inside one function, for example variable declared inside main a, b and sum, they will be visible only within the main. If I try to use them inside other function like this, compiler gives you error. It says undefined symbol because from here they are not visible, because between main and a function what exists is one invisible wall which separates the memory space or variable space of main and a function. So whatever variables we declare over here, they will not be visible here. Now the question is where to declare the variables. In this case we kept input operation inside function, calculation and output inside the function, but to complete these all 3, the function requires a variable also, and which are not declared inside the function but they are declared inside the main. But if you see the commands present in main, in no command we are using variable a, b and sum. So variables a, b and sum, they are declared in main but not at all used in main. Then why to keep them inside main? What we will do is we will remove them from main and we will insert them inside a function. So have you understood what I did? So apart from input, calculation and output, a function may require variables which are declared inside that same function. Then the function will not take any parameter and it will not return any value. This type of a function is called as function with no parameter, no return. Let us see what compiler says now. So when I when I compile the program now, it says no errors, no warnings. Let us see the execution of this program by performing single stepping. Step by step we will execute the commands present in this program so that you will realize what exactly happens when the function call executes. So we can perform single stepping by pressing F7 key. So I pressed F7. So you can see one line is highlighted, that is void main. That means compiler starts the execution of my program, and by default it starts it from void main. It is the entry point for compiler to start the execution of any C program. So if you try to write a C program without using main, that program may get compiled but it will not be executed. Execution is not possible. Now it will go for next command inside the main, so it will perform clear screen operation. Then it will go to the next command present inside the main, and now the command that we have reached is add to int, which is a function call command, and now this is called to a user defined function. So when this command gets executed, the compiler will suspend the remaining execution of the main and it will jump to the function header. So you can see without executing getch, it has jumped to the header of the user defined function. Then it starts the execution of user defined function. It will execute printf command, then it will execute scanf command, and you can see after execution of scanf command the computer is waiting for user input. So let us type two integer numbers as a user input. Let's say first number is 100 and second number is 200. When I press enter, you can see compiler has moved on to the next command, that is sum a plus b. Let us execute this command. Then it will go to the next command, printf. Let us execute this command. And now you can see it has reached to the end of the function. So the function which we started is now over. What will happen now? After the completion of execution of the function, the execution resumes inside main. That means it will resume at getch, which was pending after the function call command. So it will perform getch operation. That means it will show you the result and freeze the output. You can see addition is equal to 300, and then this is end of main. So I hope you have understood what a function requires, or how to write a first type of a function, the function which doesn't require any parameter or it will not return any result. So this is the first type of a function. Let us go back to our presentation and we will continue with few more slides and we will see few more programs also. So I hope now you have understood what does this means, that the main is not doing anything but function is doing all three operations, input, processing and output. So the function is called as function with no parameter, no return. Now let us revise whatever we have done up till now in our program again. So I have written main and the commands required to perform addition of two numbers I have not written inside main, but I have written them separately outside the main. So you can see this is group of commands required to perform a specific operation, that is addition. So this is called as, when I enclose this group of commands in a pair of curly bracket, this is called as function body. Then every function body must have head, so it requires header, that is void display. I have given name display. You should consider this as not void display but void addition. By mistake it is display, it should be addition. Then this is called as function header. Then we need to declare our function inside the main. So we have written the command void display. In my program I have written above main. In this slide I have written it inside main. Both the ways are allowed. You can declare a function either before main or inside the main, and this command is called as function prototype. And then finally, to start the execution of a program, we need to have a command called as function call command. So this command, addition brackets semicolon, is called as function call. So there is one mistake in this slide, that in function header you should read this as void addition. Do not read this as void display. Here also you should read this as void display, or instead of changing it at these two places, just read this as display. Do not read this as addition. So please have this correction. Now I hope you understood the terms related to the function. A function will have function body, the function will have function header, the function will have function prototype, and function requires function call. This function header along with the function body together, this is called as function definition. Okay, let's see few more programs by using functions. So let us write another program by using function and understand how I am doing it. This is the easiest way by which we can complete the program by using function. Let us write a program to find largest out of three integers by using function. So now first I will think of writing this program without using function. So I will start writing by writing void main. Since we have to find largest out of the three integers, we will take variables, let's say a, b and c, as well as we will take one more variable, max. Then I will write I will perform clear screen operation first. Then I will write printf to ask the user about input. I will ask the user enter 3 integer numbers. Then we will read it by using scanf %d 3 times, because we are accepting 3 integer numbers. First will be stored in A, second will be stored in B, third will be stored in C. We will read 3 integer numbers and we will store them. Now our aim is to find largest out of these 3. This I can perform by using the conditional operator. I can write max is equal to A greater than B question mark A colon B. So what will happen because of this command? This will find largest out of A and B, but it will not find largest out of all 3. It will find largest out of only 2. But can we use this to find largest out of all 3? The answer is yes. In next command, what we will do is I will write max is equal to max greater than C. If yes, that means question mark, we will copy max again into max. Otherwise, we will copy C into max. This will find largest out of max and C, and which will be in fact the largest out of A, B and C. I hope you understood this logic. After finding the largest, now we should perform output. We will write largest is equal to %d and we will display the value of variable max. Then we will write get ch and this is end of main. So I have written a simple program to perform or to find largest out of 3 integer numbers. As you can see, we are performing input operation inside main, we are performing calculation inside main, and we are performing output inside main. Now I want this should be performed by function. Let us relieve main from doing all these tasks. And you know how to relieve main from doing these all tasks. Remove the commands from main. So I will select that all commands. I will remove them from main. And I will write these commands outside the main like this. But this should be converted into function body. So first step is put this group of commands inside pair of curly brackets. This forms a function body. It must have header. So let us write header for this function void, and let's say name of this function is compare open close bracket. This is called as function header, and the highlighted thing is called as function body, and function header along with function body is called as function definition. But you know this is not sufficient. We should call the function from main. To call the function, I should write compare open close bracket semicolon. This is called as function call command. So we have written a function call command inside main, but this is also not enough. We should have prototype of the function. So how to give the prototype of the function? We will write void compare, that is header as it is, and end it with semicolon. This will be called as prototype of a function. So we provided function header, function body, function call, function prototype. Now if I compile my program, still it gives me 4 errors, and it is about variables. So you can see we are trying to use variables a, b, c and max inside the function compare, but they are not declared inside function compare, but they are declared inside function main. Are they being used inside main? The answer is no. Then why to keep them inside main? So we will delete them from main and we will add them inside a function. So you can see now almost same steps I followed like the previous program. Now compile the program and now we will run it. When I run it directly, it will ask me to enter 3 integer numbers. So let's say first number is 34, second number is 89, next number is 12. When I press enter, my program will display result as largest is equal to 89. I hope you have understood how to write this type of functions, the functions with no parameters and no return. Okay, so let us see what we did in this program. Can we write any other program that we have written without function by using this type of function? The answer is yes. We can write any other program. For your help, what I will do is, I will write a program to check the given number, 3-digit number is Armstrong or not by using a function. So what I will do is, I will write void main. Now I know function is not doing anything, so directly I will write CLR inside function main. Now I will call a function which is checking the number is Armstrong or not. Let's say name of that function is Armstrong. So I will call a function whose name is Armstrong. This is called as function call command. Then I will write get ch and I will close this. You can see the role of main is now very simple. It has to call only 3 functions: CLR for clearing the screen, Armstrong to check the number is Armstrong or not, and get ch to freeze the output. Rest all operations are performed inside the function. Let us write the function whose name is void Armstrong. No parameters required. And this thing which we are using as a header, this is required as it is as a prototype also. So now I am writing by using different sequence. If you are not comfortable with this, you can use the previous method that I used. Now to check the number is Armstrong or not, we require integer variable n. Then we require variable d, that is digits. Then we require variable sum to find sum of cube of digits whose initial value will be equal to 0. So these 3 variables are sufficient. First thing that we will do is, one more variable is required, that is n copy, because n original value will be lost when we perform operation on it. So we'll write printf. We'll ask the user enter 3-digit integer. Enter 3-digit integer. Read it by using scanf %d. We will accept it into variable n by writing and n. So integer value is with us. As soon as we got the value from the user, we will store that original value in another variable whose name is ncopy. So I will write ncopy is equal to n. That means now the value entered by the user will be present in 2 variables. One is n and other is ncopy. Ncopy we will preserve for comparison at the end. Now we should process the number by separating its digits. So we should write while n is greater than 0. That means till it consists of digits inside it. We should separate the digit by writing d is equal to n modulo division by 10. This will separate the least significant digit of the number. Means what? If I assume that the number entered by the user is 153, then n will be equal to 153. And then since we are copying it into ncopy, so ncopy will be also equal to 153. Since 153 is greater than 0, it will come inside. It will perform 153 modulo division by 10. So value of d will be equal to 3. Least significant digit will be calculated. And then we have to calculate sum of cube of digits. So I will write sum is equal to sum plus d into d into d. This is sum of cube of digits. So after this expression is solved, 3 cube, that is 3 into 3 into 3, that is 27, will be added into sum. So new value of the sum will be 27. Previously it was 0, now it will be 27. Then we will remove that digit from the number by writing n is equal to n divided by 10. So when this expression gets executed, new value of n will be 153 divided by 10. So it will be equal to 15. And then close this while loop. So n is 15. This is end of the while loop. So it will again go back and check the condition. Is 15 greater than 0? Answer is yes. Again it will come inside. So it will perform 15 modulo division by 10. This time the digit separated will be 5, because 15 mod 10, the remainder will be 5. Then this will add 5 cube into the previous sum. So new previous sum is 27 plus 5 cube, that is 125. So new sum calculated will be 152, that is 27 plus 125. Now it will go here, it will perform n divided by 10, that means quotient we will get equal to 1. New value of n will be 1. Again this is end of the while loop, so it will go back and check the condition, is 1 greater than 0, the expression is true, so it will come here, it is 1 modulo division by 10, so remainder will be 1. This will add 1 cube into the previous sum is 152 plus 1 cube, that means 1, so the total will be 153. Then this will divide 1 by 10, 1 by 10 quotient will be 0, so new value of n will be 0. It will check, is 0 greater than 0, the expression is false, so while loop will stop and it will come out. What is the value when we come out of the while loop of n? It will be 0. So we lost the original number that is entered by the user, but we need it to compare it with the sum, and therefore we used variable called as ncopy. Now I have to compare, I have to write n is equal to sum, but unfortunately after processing n for separating its digits, we lost the value of n, and therefore we have to use another variable whose name is ncopy, where we preserved the original value of n. So if these two happens to be equal, then the conclusion is simple. We need to write printf, and we should write it's a Armstrong number. But if this is not true, that means else, we need to write printf, and we should say it's not Armstrong number, which we already learned. And that's all. This is the end of the function. So you can see the input, then the processing, and finally the output. All three operations are performed inside a function whose name is Armstrong. What main is doing? Nothing, relaxing. It is just calling the function Armstrong. Let us compile this program. You can see there is no error. So when I run it, and when I enter a number, let's say 153, it will say it's Armstrong number. When I run it and when I say the number is 180, it will say it's not Armstrong number. When I run it and when I say the number is 370, it will say it's Armstrong number. So I hope you have understood how to write the program by using function. So whatever commands to perform that task, previously we are writing inside main, now we have to take them outside main and write it as a separate function. So this is called as first type of a function, that is function with no parameter and no return. I hope you have understood whatever we discussed up till now. So let us recap what we have seen in this presentation. We gone through the definition of a function, that is a group of commands written outside main to perform some specific task. Then we have discussed about library functions. So I have listed many header files and the library functions present inside them. Then we have seen how the user defined function behaves, from where it takes input, from where it can show output, what are the options available. And then we have completed first type of a function, that is function with no parameter and no return. And we have seen almost 3 examples of this type of a function. In the next video lecture on function, we will be discussing about type 2 and type 3 functions. So till that time, bye.